I'm Joe Wallace for Gearwire.com, and I'm here with Dave Huizenga from Kurtis Productions. How are you?
I'm good, Joe. Thanks for coming.
Now, we want to talk a little bit about what you do here at Kurtis. You guys have a lot of television that you work on, including Cold Case and a whole bunch of other things. Tell us a little bit about what you do and the tools that you use to get the job done.
Excuse me. Well, I write the music for Kurtis here, Kurtis Productions. Original music for every episode, dating back 20 years now that I've been doing it here for Bill. And our show currently, Cold Case Files, is airing on A&E. I think it's almost every day now. It's a nice ratings boost for A&E. It's good. Our past series have been the New Explorers, and that's kind of the one that kicked us off as Kurtis Productions in the late 80s, early 90s on the PBS network. And that's where I got my start with Bill, was the New Explorers series, writing original music and doing the sound in the field as well. So about the first 5 or so years before we got with A&E and our output of shows became so great, I was able in the beginning to go out with every episode and shoot with the cameraman and do audio in the field before coming back, and then the luxury of being able then to take sometimes up to 3 weeks to 4 weeks to write the soundtrack for that particular show. So it's truly been the dream gig, you can imagine. Sound in the field, coming back, writing music all around the world, by the way, and then coming back and writing music for those shows. We got to a point, however, like I say, with A&E, when we signed on with them, the series Investigative Reports was our first big series with them. And that evolved kind of into Cold Case, which then spun off and now has its own series. But when we got busy with A&E, the exploring, my personal exploring, came to a halt, and because the output of shows became great, and I just ended up really basically here with not as much time, I must say, per show either. You know, sometimes just 2 weeks tops, and sometimes less, to try and get, a 47-8 minute program filled with original music.
Now, you use a lot of different types of gear to get this done. You've got keyboards and you've got a MIDI setup, and you've just got an endless array of stuff. Tell us a little bit about what kind of equipment you need to get the job done for every show.
All right. Well, I use a MIDI controller, but primarily Pro Tools is my sequencer and my audio workstation. Pro Tools 7 using now, and I also have a few relics, but mostly everything now. All of my samples and sounds are stored on I have a G5, a Mac G5 is what I use, a dual processor. And I am currently, what's pretty cool about, the last, say, 5-6 years especially, is sounds that I have, used to use an Emax 2. You remember that? It was right here, along with a couple other keyboards. I used to have actually 4 or 5 keyboards in here, not to mention a rack of modules. But anyway, the sounds, some of the best sounds that I had at the time were from an Emax 2, which I think was like an 8 megabyte memory, So I graduated years ago to this Akai sampler, but that got me in, especially in the New Explorer days. I was able to sample things, like I'd go in the field, for example, and we were in Kenya with the Maasai, for example, and I would be doing the field audio and in stereo grabbing the Maasai warriors, doing their celebratory chants and dances around a campfire. How cool then that I could come back here and, using sampling, capture some of the great these great throaty vocals that they're producing, and actually use them, right into by capturing the sample and just incorporate those sounds as an example. I tried to do that as often as I could with other cultures and with other locations where we'd go. But so there's a little bit of sampling still available here in terms of the Akai, but really primarily everything is Pro Tools and all of the wonderful plugins that are available here now. I can show you some of the things I'm using. But to answer your question, it's primarily I have one module that's left that I love the piano sound for, and I can quickly go and I can find a couple other synthy pads and some of that analog cool synth stuff is on a Korg TR Rack module I still have, and there's a Roland 1080 from the day. That is an amazing piece still.